Well, I must say,
Have you read it through?
yes, I guess I have.
Don't you think the doctor comes out strong?
Strong. Why, strike me dead if he's not a heavyweight. Every word falls like a sledgehammer.
Yes, but these fellows won't collapse in the first round.
True enough, but we'll keep hammering away, blow after blow, till the whole bureaucracy is on its knees. I sat in there reading this article. I seemed to hear the revolution thundering afar.
Hush! Don't let us Laxton hear that.
Laxon's a white-livered coward, huh? Not even a spark of manhood. But this time, surely you'll have your way. You'll print the doctor's paper.
Yes, yes, if only the burgomaster doesn't cave in.
That would be a pain.
Well, whatever happens, luckily we can turn the situation to account. If the burgomaster won't agree to the doctor's proposal, he'll have the middle class against him, the householders association, and all the rest. If he does agree to it, he'll fall out with the whole crew of big shareholders in the baths, who have been his main support.
Yes, of course. They'll have to fork out a pile of money.
Now, you can swear to that. And then when the ring breaks up, we'll pound it into the public day in and day out that the burgomaster is incompetent every which way till Sunday. And that all the positions of trust in the town, the whole municipal government in short, must be entrusted to men with progressive ideas.
Strike me dead if that isn't the square truth of it.
Ah, here's the doctor. Well,
Print away, Mr. Hofstad.
so it's come to that.
Hooray!
Print away, I tell you. You bet it's come to that. Since they want it this way, here we go. War is declared, Mr. Billing.
War to the death, Doctor.
This article is only the beginning. I've already got plans for 4 or 5 more. But where do you keep Aslaxon?
Laxon, just come in here a minute.
Did you say 4 or 5 more articles on the same subject?
No, not at all, my friend. No. They'll deal with quite different matters, but they're all of a piece with the waterworks and sewer question. One thing leads to another. It's like beginning to pick at an old house, you know?
Strike me dead, but that's true. You can't stop till you pull the whole shack to pieces.
Pulled to pieces? Surely the doctor isn't thinking of pulling the baths to pieces.
No, not at all. Don't be alarmed.
No, something quite different. But, Mr. Hofstad, what do you think of my article?
Simply a masterpiece.
Yes, isn't it? I am glad you think so.
It's so clear and to the point. One doesn't need to be a specialist to understand the gist. Every citizen concerned will be on your side.
And all the prudent ones, too, I hope.
Prudent and imprudent. Likely the whole town.
Then I suppose we may venture to print it.
Yes, I think so.
It shall go in tomorrow.
Yes. Devil take the hindmost, not a day to be lost. Now, look here, Mr. Aslaxon. This is what I wanted to ask you. Will you take personal charge of the article?
Certainly I will.
Treat it like gold. No printer's errors. Every word is important. I'll look again in a bit. Perhaps you'll be able to let me see a proof. I can't tell you how I long to have the thing in print, to see it hurled forth
Yes, like a thunderbolt.
and submitted to the judgment of every intelligent citizen. Oh, you've no idea what I had to put up with today. I have been threatened with all sorts of things. I was to be robbed of my most obvious rights as a man.
What? Your rights?
I was to humble myself and eat the dust. I was to set my personal interests above my deepest, most sacred convictions.
Strike me dead, but that's outrageous.
What can you expect from that quarter?
But they'll get the worst of it. I can promise you I will throw myself in the breach every day, and the messenger bombard them with one explosive article after another.
Yes, but look here.
Hooray! War! War!
I'll smite them to the earth, crush them. I'll level their battalions to the ground in the eyes of all right-thinking persons. I will.
But above all things, be temperate, Doctor. Proceed with moderation.
Not at all, not at all. Don't spare the dynamite.
Now, it's not just a question of waterworks and sewers. You see, no. Society as a whole must be purged, disinfected,
There's a word of salvation.
and all the old bunglers thrown out, you understand, from every department. Endless vistas have opened up for me today. Now, I don't see everything quite clearly yet, but that'll come. It's young, vigorous standard bearers we must look for, my friends. New captains at all outposts.
Hear, hear.
And if only we stand together, it'll go smooth as silk. The whole revolution, like launching a ship. Don't you think?
For me, I think now we have every prospect of placing our municipal affairs in the right hands.
And if we only proceed with moderation, I really don't think there can be any danger.
Who the devil cares whether there's danger or not? What I do in the name of truth and for my conscience sake.
You're a man to be backed up, Doctor.
Yes, there's no doubt the doctor's a true friend to the town. He's what I call a friend of society.
Strike me dead if Dr. Stockman isn't a friend of the people, as Laxon.
I have no doubt the Householders Association will soon adopt that expression.
Thanks. Thanks. Faithful friends. It does me good to hear you. My respected brother called me something very different today. Never mind. I'll pay him back with interest. But I'm off now to see a poor devil of a patient. I'll look in again, though. Be sure you look after the article, Mr. Aslaxon. And for goodness sakes, don't leave out any footnotes. Well, goodbye for the present. Goodbye. Goodbye.
He'll be invaluable.
Yes, so long as he confines himself to the baths. But if he goes further, it won't be advisable to go with him.
Yeah, well, that depends.
You're always so bloody timid, as Laxon.
Timid? Yes. When it's a question of attacking local authorities, I am timid, Mr. Billing. I have learned caution in the school of experience, let me tell you. But go for the higher politics, attack the government itself, and then see if I'm timid. There you do society no harm. The men attacked stay where they are all the same. But local authorities can be turned out. And then we might get some incompetent set in power, with irreparable injury to householders and many others.
Yeah, but the education of citizens by self-government, what do you think of that?
Well, a man with solid interests to protect can't think of everything, Mr. Hussett.
Well, then I hope I never have solid interests to protect.
Hear, hear.
Public person should never be too sure of anything on earth, Mr. Hofstad. And as for you, Mr. Billing, you might take in a leaf or two, I'd say. Aren't you applying for a secretaryship to the town council?
Yeah.
Is that so, Billing?
Well, yes, but for crying out loud, I'm only doing it to annoy those high and mighty politicians.
Well, that doesn't concern me. My heart still belongs to the people, but I don't deny that my reason inclines somewhat towards the authorities, the local ones, at any rate.
Don't you think we ought to get rid of him, Hofstad?
Do you know anyone else who will back us?
What a blasted nuisance to have no capital.
Yes, if only we had that.
Suppose you applied to Dr. Stockman.
What would be the good? He doesn't have a dime.
No, but he's got the Badger to back him. Old Morton Keel.
Are you so sure he has money?
Strike me dead if he doesn't. And part of it must surely go to the Stockman family. He's bound to provide for them. For the kids, at least.
Are you counting on that?
Counting? How should I be counting?
Well, you best not be. And that secretaryship you shouldn't count on either. I can assure you, you won't get it.
You think I don't know that? A refusal is the very thing I want. I just, just finds the spirit of revolt, a fresh supply of gold. Just what you need in a godforsaken place like this, with so little action.
Yes, yes.
Well, they'll hear soon enough from me. Matter of fact, I'm going to go right now and write up the appeal to the Homeowners Association.
So that's it. Come in. What, is it you? Here?
Yes, please excuse me.
Well, won't you sit down?
No, thanks. I can only stay a moment.
I suppose it's something from your father.
No, I've come on my own account. Here's that French story.
Why have you brought it back?
Because I won't translate it.
But you promised.
Yes, but then I hadn't read it. I suppose you've not read it either?
No, you know I don't read French.
Exactly. And that's why I wanted to tell you that you must find something else. This can't possibly go in the messenger
Why not?
because it flies in the face of all your convictions.
Well, for that matter.
You don't understand me. It's all about a so called supernatural power that looks after all the good people in this world and turns everything to their advantage at last while all the bad people are punished.
Yeah, but that's all right. It's the very thing the public like.
And would you supply the public with such stuff? You don't believe a word of it yourself. You know well enough that things don't really happen like that.
Of course not. An editor can't always do as he likes. He often has to yield to people's fancies in small matters. After all, politics is the chief thing in life, at least for a newspaper. And if I want people to follow a path to emancipation and progress, I can't scare them away. If they find a moral story like this down in the paper cellar, they're all the more willing to stand by what's printed above it. They feel safer.
Shame on you. You're not such a hypocrite as to spread snares like that for your readers. You're not a spider.
Thanks for your good opinion. Well, it's true, the idea is Billings, not mine.
Billings?
Yes. Well, at least he was talking in that strain the other day. It was Billing that was so anxious to get the story into the paper. I don't even know the book.
But how can Billing, with his advanced views?
Well, Billing is many-sided. He's applying for the secretaryship to the town council, I hear.
I don't believe that, Hofstede. How could he descend to such a thing?
Well, that you must ask him.
I would never have thought it of Billing.
No? Is it such a revelation to you?
Yes. And yet, perhaps not. Oh, I don't know.
We journalists aren't worth much, Miss Petra.
Do you really say that?
I think so, now and then.
Yes, in the little everyday squabbles, I can understand that. But now that you've taken up a great cause,
Oh, you mean this affair of your father's?
of course, I should think you feel yourself worth more than the common herd now.
Yes. Today, I do feel something of the sort.
Yes, surely you must. Of course, it's a great career you've chosen. To pioneer unrecognized truths, new, courageous ways of thought, to stand up fearlessly for an injured man.
Yeah, especially when that injured man is, well, I hardly know how to put this.
You mean when he's got such integrity?
I mean when he's your father.
That?
Yes, Petra. Miss Petra.
So that's your great idea, is it? Not the cause itself? Not the truth? Not father's great warm heart?
Yeah, of course, that too.
No, thank you. You've said too much, Mr. Hofstede. Now I shall never trust you again in anything.
Can you be so hard on me when it's chiefly for your sake?
What I blame you for is that you haven't acted straightforwardly towards father. You've spoken to him as if you cared only for the truth and the good of the community. You've trifled both with father and with me. You are not the man you pretended to be. And that I shall never forgive you, never.
You shouldn't say that so bitterly, Miss Petra, least of all now.
Why not now?
Because your father can't do it without my help.
So that's who you are. Oh, for shame.
No, look, no, I spoke thoughtlessly. You mustn't believe that.
I know what to believe. Goodbye.
There's trouble, Mr. Hofstede. Oh, that's awkward.
Well, there's the book. You must give it to someone else.
But, Miss Petra.
Goodbye.
Well, Mr. Hofstede,
Well, what is it?
the burgomaster's out there in the printing office.
The burgomaster?
Yes, he wants to speak to you. He came in the back way. He didn't want to be seen.
What's the meaning of this? Look, stop. I'll go myself. But keep a lookout, Aslaxon.
I understand.
You didn't expect to see me here, Mr. Hofstede?
No, I can't say I did.
You've got a very comfortable place here. Charming.
Oh,
Here I have come, without by your leave, to take up your time.
you're very welcome, sir. I'm at your service. Let me take your cap and stick. Won't you sit down?
Thanks. I've been very much worried today, Mr. Hofstad.
Really? Well, I suppose with your various duties, Burgomaster.
It's the doctor that's been worrying me today.
Indeed.
He's been writing a sort of memorandum to the directors about some supposed shortcomings in the baths.
Has he really?
Well, yes, hasn't he told you? I thought that he said that.
Oh, by the by, he did say something.
Oh, I'll need the manuscript.
It's there on the desk.
All right.
Ah, that's it.
Yes, that's the doctor's article, Burgomaster.
Oh, is that what you were speaking of?
The very same. What do you think of it?
Well, I'm not a specialist. I only glanced at it.
And yet you're going to print it.
I can't very well refuse to sign communication.
I have nothing to do with the editing of the paper, Burgomaster.
Of course not.
I just print what's placed in my hands.
Yes, quite right.
So I must.
Oh, no, wait a second, Mr. Islaxon. With your permission, Mr. Hofstad.
By all means, Burgomaster.
You're a discreet and thoughtful man, Mr. Islaxon,
Glad you think so, Burgomaster.
and a man of very wide influence.
Chiefly among the lower middle class.
The small taxpayers form the majority, here as everywhere.
True enough.
And I don't doubt that you know the general welfare among them. Am I right?
Yes, I think I may say that I do, Burgomaster.
Well, if there's such a praiseworthy spirit of self-sacrifice among the poor citizens of the town,
How so?
Self-sacrifice?
it's an admirable instance of public spirit, more than I'd have expected. Well, but of course, you know public feeling better than I do.
Yes, but
And
Burgomaster.
assuredly, it's no small sacrifice the town will have to make.
The town.
But I don't understand. It's the baths.
At a rough provisional estimate, the alterations the doctor thinks desirable will come to 200,000 or 300,000 crowns.
That's a lot of money. But I mean,
Of course, we shall be obliged to raise a municipal loan.
Well, you don't suppose that the town is.
would you go up on
gonna-
taxes upon the slender savings of the lower middle class?
Why, my dear Mr. Islaxon, where else are the funds to come from?
Oh, that the shareholders in the baths must look to.
No, the shareholders are not in a position to go to further expense.
Are you quite sure of that, Burgomaster?
I have positive information. So, if these extensive alterations are called for, the town itself will have to bear the cost.
Well, I beg your pardon, but this is quite another matter, Mr. Hofstad.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Well, the worst of it is, we shall be obliged to close the establishment for a couple of years.
To close it completely?
For 2 years?
Yes, the work will require that time at least.
But hell and brimstone. We can't stand that, Burgomaster. What are the householders to live on in the meantime?
It's extremely difficult to say, Mr. Islaxon, but what can you do? Do you think a single visitor will come here if we go about making them imagine that the water is poisoned, that the place is pestilential, that the whole town
And it's all just imagine?
with the best will in the world? I've failed to convince myself that it's anything else.
But then it's perfectly inexcusable of Dr. Stockman. Beg pardon, Burgomaster, but
You're only speaking the truth, Mr. Islaxon. Unfortunately, my brother's always been known for being rash.
and you were going to back him up, Mr. Hofstad.
Well, who could have possibly imagined that?
I have drawn up a short statement of the facts from a sober-minded standpoint, and intimated that any drawbacks that may possibly exist can no doubt be remedied by measures compatible with the finances of the baths.
Well, have you that statement with you, Burgomaster?
Oh, yes. I brought it with me in case.
Blast it all, there he is,
Who? My brother.
Where? Where?
coming through the printing room.
What a nuisance. I don't want to meet him here. I must speak with you on several points.
Go in there in a moment.
Oh, but
You're gonna only find Billing in there.
Quick, Burgomaster, he's coming.
very well. Try to get rid of him.
Look busy, Aslaxon.
Here I am, back again.
Already, Doctor. Well, hurry up with your little project, Aslaxon. There's no time to lose today.
No proof as yet, I hear.
No, how could you expect it?
Of course not. But I can have no peace until I see the thing in print.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good while yet. Don't you think, Aslaxon?
I fear it will.
All right. Well, all right, my good friends. Then I'll look in again later, twice if necessary, with so much at stake. The welfare of the whole town. It's no time for idling. Oh, by the way, there's one other
Excuse
thing.
me, wouldn't some other time?
No, I can tell you in 2 words. It's this. When people read the paper tomorrow and find I've spent my whole winter working quietly for the good of the town.
Yes, but doctor.
I know, but you don't think it was more than my simple duty as a citizen. Of course, we know that. But you see, my fellow citizens, good Lord, the poor souls think so much of me.
Yes, the town's thought very highly of you
Well,
today, Doctor.
What I mean to say is when all this comes to them, especially the less well off, as a summons to take the affairs of the town into their own hands.
Doctor, look, I won't conceal from you.
I thought something was brewing. I won't hear of it.
So,
No, if you don't, if you're going to get anything up, anything of any sort, a procession, banners, a banquet, donations towards some public plaque, whatever, you must give me your solemn promise to put a stop to it. And you too, Mr. Aslax.
excuse me, doctor, but we might as well tell you the whole truth sooner than later.
Ah, just as I thought.
Mrs. Stockman, too?
What the devil? Katrine?
Well,
You know very well why I've come.
why don't you sit down, or perhaps...
Thanks, please don't trouble. And you mustn't blame me for coming here after the doctor. I am the mother of 3 children.
What is this nonsense? We know well enough.
It doesn't look
Who-
like you've thought very much about your wife and children today, Thomas, or you'd not be so ready to plunge us all into misfortune.
Are you quite mad, Katrine? Can't a man with a wife and children assert the truth? Do his utmost as a useful citizen? Do his duty for his own hometown?
Everything in moderation, Thomas.
Just what I say, moderation.
You do us a great wrong, Mr. Hofstad, enticing my husband away from house and home, fooling him like this.
Well, I fooled no one.
Fooled? Do you think I should let myself be fooled?
Yes, but you do. I know you're the cleverest man in town, but you're so easily made a fool of, Thomas. Remember, he's to lose his post at the baths if you print what he's written.
What?
Well, really, doctor,
just let them try. No, my dear. They'll think twice about it. I do have the majority behind me, you know.
That's what's terrifying, that you have such a horrid thing behind you.
Nonsense, Katrine. You go home and look after your house and let me take care of society. How can you be in such a fright when I'm so confident, so happy? Truth and the people must win the day. Of that. Oh. What the devil is this?
Oh, Lord.
Why, here's the top knot of authority.
The burgomaster's cap.
And the staff of office, too. Now, how in the devil's name did they...
well,
Oh, I understand. He's been here to talk you over. Brought his pigs to the wrong market. And when he caught sight of me in the printing room, he took to his heels. Huh, Mr. Aslaxon?
Exactly. Took to his heels, Doctor.
Made off without his stick. Wait. Peter never leaves anything behind him. Where the devil did you stow him? Aha! In there, of course. Now you'll see, Katrine.
Oh, Thomas, I beg
Take care, Doctor.
Oh, what's the meaning of this folly?
Respect, my good Peter. Now, it's I that am the power in town.
Oh,
Give me
Thomas.
back my cap and stick.
You may be chief of police, but I'm burgomaster. I'm master of the whole town, I tell you.
Put down my cap, I say. It's an official cap, as by law prescribes.
Do you think the awakening lion of democracy will let itself be scared by a uniform cap? There's to be a revolution in town tomorrow, believe you me. You threatened me with dismissal, but now I dismiss you from all your offices of trust. Yes, I can. I have the irresistible forces of society with me. Hofstede and Billing will thunder in the People's Messenger. Aslaxon will take the field with the entire Householders Association.
I shall not, Doctor.
Sure you will.
Aha. Perhaps Mr. Hofstede wants to join the agitation after all.
No, Burgomaster.
No, Mr. Hofstede's not such a fool as to ruin himself and the paper on an imaginary whim.
What's all this mean?
Well, you presented your case in a false light, Doctor. Therefore, we are unable to give you our support.
And after what the Burgomaster has been so kind as to explain to me,
In a false light. Well, I'm responsible for that. Just, you print my article, you'll see. I'll prove it up to the hilt.
I shall not print it. I cannot, will not. I dare not.
Dare not? That's nonsense. You're the editor. I guess it's the editor that directs a paper.
No, it's the readers, Doctor. It's public opinion, the intelligent majority, the householders, and all the rest. It's they that direct a paper.
And now all these powers I now have against me?
Yes, you have. It would be absolute ruin for the town if your article were inserted.
Indeed.
My hat and stick. Your term of office has come to an untimely end.
The end is not yet in sight. So it's quite impossible to print my paper in the Messenger.
Quite, for the sake of your family, if for no other reason.
Oh, please, Mr. Hofstede, leave his family out of it.
When this appears, the public will have all the necessary information. It's an authentic statement. Here you are.
Good. It will be inserted, no question.
And not mine? You think you can kill my truth through a conspiracy of silence? That won't be so easy, Mr. Aslaxon. Will you be good enough to print my article at once as a pamphlet? I'll pay. I'll be my own publisher. I'll have 600 copies.
No. If you offered me its weight in gold, I wouldn't dare rent out my press for such a purpose, Doctor. I dare not fly in the face of public opinion. No one in town will print it.
Then give it back.
By all means.
It'll be made public all the same. I'll read it at a mass meeting. All my fellow citizens shall hear the voice of truth.
Not one organization in this town will rent you their hall.
Not one, that's sure enough.
no,
This is too disgraceful. Why is everyone so
Okay.
against you?
I can tell you. It's because in this town, all the men are old women. Like you, my dear. They're only thinking of their own families and not the common good.
Then I'll show them that an old woman like me can outface any man once in a blue moon. I'll stand with you, Thomas.
Bravely said, Katrine. My word on it, the truth shall come out. And if they won't rent me a hall, I'll hire a drum and march through the town or read my paper at every street corner.
Surely you're not such a raving loon.
I am.
You won't get a single man in town to go with you.
no. Strike me dead if you would.
Never say die, Thomas. I'll send the children.
That's a splendid idea.
Marta will be delighted, and Eilif will go too, I'm sure.
Yes, and Petra. And you yourself, Katrine.
Oh, no, not I. But I'll stand at the window and cheer you on.
Thanks. Now, my good sirs, we're ready for the fight. Now, we'll see if your poltroonery can gag the patriot who'd purge our society of cowards
and dissemblers.